As it should be. As it should be.
How are you? So you just caught me as I'm about to make some risotto. Risotto is one of the things that I am famous for making. Every menu I have always has a seasonal risotto on it. So we're going to make the caramelized onion risotto, but what I'm going to show you is how to make risotto in general, and then you can add any sort of flavorings you want. So I know people think that risotto is difficult, but it's not. It's very easy. There are just a couple of key things you need to keep in mind when you're making it to make it well. First and foremost, you have to use chicken stock, no vegetarian risotto. The reason is the protein in the stock allows the butter and the cheese to emulsify, which helps with the creaminess. So, I have homemade chicken stock here, but you can go ahead and buy a good store-bought boxed chicken stock if need be. No need to worry about that. Very important that the chicken stock is heated up. If we add it to the rice when it's cold, it's going to ruin the texture. So first we get that on and start with that. Secondly, because we're making a caramelized onion risotto, we're going to start cooking the onions ahead of time so that by the time the rice is ready, we can just go ahead and add the onions into the rice and we'll have a finished product. I always cook with a blended oil, never with olive oil. Olive oil has too many solids in it and it doesn't allow you to get the type of heat that you want on the pan. Blended oil is a canola and olive oil blend. The olive oil that's in it adds a good flavor. The canola allows the heat to happen. We get the pan hot, and we're just going to throw in white pearl onion. Okay, so now we're going to make the risotto. And like I said, this is something that is a basic recipe. You can put all different types of flavorings in it once you get it started. Firstly, we use arborio rice. You need a short grain rice. Short grain rices, as you can see, literally look shorter, and they have more starch in them, which allows you to, it's a creamier texture than a long grain rice. And you put some oil in the pan, in the pot actually. I like using a high side of hot. I'm going to get the chicken stock off. Right. I'm going to go ahead and just put enough rice to cover the bottom, okay? At the same time, I'm going to add, this is diced red onion. You can use diced shallots as well. I don't like to use white onion. In my opinion, it has too strong of a flavor. I'm also going to go ahead and right now add some butter as we sweat this down. So when people talk about risotto, they often talk about the fact that you need to constantly stir it. That is a myth. The reality about constantly stirring it is that you do want it to cook evenly. So stirring it is very important. What we're doing here, though, is we are just trying to get a little bit of a coating onto the rice. This helps seal the texture of the rice and keeps it from getting mushy when it's in the pan. So you don't actually really want very much color on this. You're trying to keep it white, but what you do want is you do want to get it so that the edge of the rice becomes translucent. I'm not sure you can see that here, but it has happened. Anyhow, once the edges of the rice are translucent, we go ahead and we add some white wine. The white wine adds some acidity. Okay, there you go. In all of my recipes, you'll find that I don't like to give amounts. I like you to get a feel of what you're doing and understand the process of cooking. So you just basically cover your rice with white wine and let it reduce down till it's almost dry. At that point, you're going to add chicken stock. Again, it has to be hot, very important that it's hot. You're just going to do it to cover. Now this is the part of risotto that everyone thinks is difficult. You do want to stir, but you don't need to stir constantly. What we've done now is we've added chicken stock a couple of times and stirred it periodically so that the rice cooks evenly and allowed the chicken stock to reduce. At this point you can see that it's starting to plump up. You can still see the individual rice kernels. And if you were to taste it, when you taste it, it just stops being dry in the center. So this is your risotto base. At this point, you can add whatever you want. In the spring, we like to add asparagus, and we make a pea puree, and we put that in, and we have a nice green risotto. In the fall, we sometimes take a butternut squash puree and put that in with house-smoked duck breast and dried cherries. But today we're making caramelized onion risotto. So, we're going to take this, we're going to add our onions, which we cooked on the stovetop and in the oven. And as you can see, I like to really get a good color on them because to me that adds flavor. So we put those in, right? Stirring around. I can tell that this is going to need just a little bit more chicken stock. And now we're going to finish this up. On all the risottos, I always add Parmesan cheese. And remember, don't be shy. There's nothing to be timid about when you're making food taste good. Butter, salt, and pepper. Always use fresh ground pepper. It makes all the difference. Pre-ground doesn't have any flavor at all. It just tastes like powder. We're gonna stir this up. Now the stirring here obviously is important as you melt in the fats, because if you don't stir while you add the butter and the cheese, you will break the emulsification and you will wind up with a product that looks greasy as opposed to creamy. There we go. See how great that looks? You still have every kernel's individual, but you have a nice creaminess to it. Right? When you eat this, what you'll taste is that it's creamy, but you still have a little bite on all the kernels of rice. Lastly, I add parsley to this. It adds color, but it also adds like a clean flavor to the end of it that cuts the cheese and the butter. Always add your parsley right at the end. Anything that's green, if you add it too far in advance, will turn brown and it won't look very pretty. And now we're ready to plate it. Save some of the onions for the top. Caramelized onion risotto in less than 20 minutes. Thank you for joining me today as I made risotto, and please stay tuned for more easy recipes from me and Thelma and Clinton on the Lower East Side in New York City. Have a good day.